we got a little bit of a slightly late reaction to the ESPN top 25 under 25. So we decided to do a little rebuttal on our end. Let's get right into it. Number 1, I got Luka. I think pretty unanimous. ESPN's right there with us. You guys are right there with me.
1 and 2, I got Luka Zion. I think we all probably have Luka Zion 1 and 2, right? Assuming.
Yeah, that's
Abel,
hard to
don't tell me you don't have Zion second, bro.
Whoa.
I don't know. It might be the fact that just I think Tatum has more of a chance to be better defensively than Zion has a chance to develop a three-point shot.
That's a fair bet.
That's kind of the only reason. Because I made the list and I was like, yeah, Luka, Zion. And then I went through the list and I was like, man, like, if Tatum becomes a defensive stopper and Zion develops a three-point shot, like, which one's more likely? And then is it going to be like?
I mean, I don't think Zion needs a three-point shot. Like, he's already he's not great at three-point, but he could hit them when he needs to. I mean, I'm sure he'll
Tatum can play some defense
into a better. I just think Zion is just gonna be an all-time offensive player, where Tatum's gonna be a good two-way player. Like, he could literally become the best two-way player in the league. I still think Zion is an all-time great offensive player. So I think and there's a chance that Zion does develop into a good defensive player too. I don't really care at this point. Like, he's definitely not the Draymond Green level defender we thought he was, but so I have Tatum and Brown both at 3 and 4. Like, Brown's pretty close to Tatum, but Tatum, I'm high on Tatum too. I have Zion at 2 just because he's Zion.
Yeah, I mean, Tatum increasing his points every single year, his assist numbers every single year. Almost like exponentially. He's shooting slightly better every single year, besides probably his three-point percentage, because he just had a beast rookie year at 43%. And taking on way more of a workload. I mean, it's tough because obviously we're talking about 2 and 3. And Zion, like you said, I mean, he's once in a generation, once in a lifetime type talent. It's just that's my train of thought, is that Tatum's already kind of working with it.
You're Danny Ainge, and I call you, be like, yo, I'm giving you Zion for Tatum. You say no?
Straight up?
Straight up, 1 for
not. 1. It's tempting, though, but probably not. I don't know.
I think I'm with Abel in that I would stay, but between the rankings, I think I would still put Zion ahead of him, like Brandon said. What Zion's doing offensively, if he turns into Shaquille O'Neal like he's been and becomes a defensive presence on top of it, it's just – the sky's the limit for this guy. I think the argument for Tatum, though, is that he probably has a less possibility of getting injured, I guess, only because Zion, his weight and how many injuries we've already seen him have. Nothing crazy, obviously. They've been very cautious, which is the smart approach. But I think he could possibly have an injury that would shorten his career, whereas Tatum seems like he's going to be rock solid.
Yeah. Another thing also is Tatum's kind of last shot ability. Last shot making ability. I'd much rather have Tatum take that last shot than Zion.
But I don't know, because Zion is turning into a pretty good initiator. And if you're letting me, with 20 seconds left, letting Zion run my offense and, figuring out the best shot, and that means he's got a one-on-one matchup and he's able to get to the hoop, or if he gets double teamed and he realizes, I need to kick it out, Zion's could develop into a very good passer and just overall playmaker and just hub of an offense.
They have the same assist numbers right now, so I obviously Tatum has more. His averages are is 4.2 and Zion's 3.7, but they're close enough. They're both pretty good playmakers for all.
But that's what Zion starting it with a month and a half ago, though. And that's his second year. Yeah. I would assume he develops even more. And you assumed Lonzo isn't going to be on this team moving forward. Zion might be the primary ball.
I don't know.
I think they're better off keeping him. I think him and Lonzo actually have a good connection. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But
long story short, Zion's amazing. Tatum's amazing. I think it's splitting hairs. Yeah, I have Tatum at 3.
Yeah.
You have Tatum at 3 too?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's move on to 4. You said Jalen Brown, Brandon?
Yeah, I think Jalen Brown and Tatum are pretty close, closer than people think off the top of their head. Brown might be the better defender. Brown is the guy that usually defends the best guy in the other team. He was guarding Siakam in that series last year. Brown's a more versatile defender. He can guard twos, I think, better than Tatum can. I mean, he's not as pure of a shooter and scorer. It's not as effortless as the way Tatum makes it look, but like you look at their numbers and they're pretty close. Like Tatum's obviously taken over the last month, but I mean, I gave the edge to Brown or to Tatum, but Brown I think is pretty close. But like that ESPN list had Brown significantly lower than Tatum, and I think, like I said, I have him back to back. I'm curious to see where you guys have Brown in relation to Tatum.
I don't have him back to back. I have him a little bit lower, but it's not because I think that Tatum is just way better than Brown. I just the people in between are just like that good in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So F4 I have Devin Booker, which I mean clearly I'm way higher on Devin Booker.
Where do you have Jalen Brown?
I have Jalen Brown at 7.
It's not too far.
I have
down.
him at 6.
6. So yeah, we're all. I think he was like 12th in that ESPN one. So like yeah, we're definitely higher on Jalen than ESPN is.
Yeah, he was at 12. Yeah, correct. So
yeah, when you take into consideration that he's sharing the court with Tatum and he can't be the guy like Devin Booker, then you have to understand that in a different situation he could be better.
I mean, I think Jalen Brown is better than you. So you said you have Devin Booker at 4, Abel?
Yeah, I have Devin Booker at 4.
That's pretty high for me. I mean, he doesn't play defense. He basically only scores right now. Pretty much every.
He's a good passer.
He's solid. He's a good ball handler. And a solid passer. But like, I just think if the Celtics offer me Jalen Brown for Devin Booker, I'd probably take that. I'd probably take Jalen Brown over Booker. So that's why Booker has a chance to be a better offensive player. But I mean, again, you look at their numbers. Jalen Brown's offensive numbers are pretty close to Booker when you think Booker's a better offensive player, and Brown is not even close. Like he's way better defensively. So
for me, it just comes down to I feel like Devin Booker can be a 1 on the team, and Jalen Brown, like I feel like he's like a 1B.
I get that because I think that's like the idea that you have with them, but when you actually look at them as players, I think, like I don't know, I think that's almost disrespectful to Brown just because he just happened to be drafted on the same team as Tatum, so he just happens to be. He's never been looked at as a guy to be on that team, but I think if he was in a role like that, he could definitely be like the 1. Like I mean, both of them probably are ideal 2s, but I think like I feel like they're pretty close though. I have Devin Booker at 11. Pretty much every guy. My top 10 pretty much are all 2-way players. So that's yes. Booker is like the start of like a slightly lower tier, but he's up there. But like I have him definitely lower than you at 11. Where do you have Booker, Gene?
He's actually my number 8, so he made my top 10. I'm pretty high on him like you, Abel, but similar to what Brandon's thinking is I wanted a 2-way player here. I actually have Bam Adebayo at number 4 for the finals run that they went on last year and his passing on top of his defense and his rebounding.
I definitely respect this, but I think it just comes down to like just a big man. How much can a big man do? I think you take Jimmy Butler off this team.
A big man like Bam Adebayo can do a lot more than your Karl Townses, your other guys that only score.
I agree. Yeah. His passing ability definitely.
And defense, bro. He could guard shooting guards and point guards.
I think if Bam's your best player, I don't think you're making a championship though. That's the thing.
I mean, it's not. It would not be common for a big man like Bam to be the best player. I just think he's so good at literally like every facet of the game except for 3-point shooting that like when someone's 23 and they're already showing this much talent, like you can't miss out on a guy like this. If we were drafting, I would want Bam Adebayo at 4.
He's my first big man, but like I have Bam at 10, but I have to have a perimeter player as like my like top guys where like Bam talent wise might be better than some of these guys, but it like again, if I'm like looking at a trade value, like I think I just value perimeter players more than I think a big man. So like if you offered me Jalen Brown,
I feel like
I just have to take him.
I feel like Bam's kind of more of a unicorn though. With
he is, dude.
Is like switchability.
Listen to these numbers: 19 points, a steal, a block, 9 boards, 5 assists, and 80% from the free throw line. Like that's elite shit, dude. He's doing it all this year, like literally everything. 5 assists for a big man. That's like obviously he's not Nikola Jokic, but if we don't have Nikola Jokic, we're talking about Bam like he's one of the best passing centers in the league. So he's really doing it all
and increasing his passing every year. So his passing's only getting better.
I just think he's always gonna need like a running mate with him. He's never gonna be able to be your best player.
Well, that's
Like,
a big
you're
man
gonna be
though.
kept
Every
out.
big man.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a big
thing.
man
I mean,
thing,
that's
though.
the thing though, is what I think though. Like I think that's why, like, unless you're Jokic or Embiid, which in a couple years Bam might turn into one of these guys, but
Or
I think
Davis.
or Davis. Those are like the three guys where like those are like you could build a team around those guys. But if you're slightly lower than those guys, then it's like you're basically gonna have to be a number two. And even Davis, like Davis being the number one. Davis as a number one wasn't winning, like now that he's in the perfect role as being the second guy, and that's why I think like guys where like most of these other guys I could see as being almost like top guys. Where Bam is just he's the perfect guy to have. No, like, he fits on all 30 teams. Like certain players don't fit on every team. He's a guy that every team would like. I just slightly penalize him for being a big man, even though it's not his fault.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. The big man is not as valuable as it once was. He's just.
I agree.
Abel he's a unicorn.
Like I said, I have him at 10. Abel, where do you have him?
I have him at 5, so he's next man
right
up.
next to
him up there.
Yeah, next man up. Yes, sir.
So at 5, I got Shay, and that's again, this is where he's basically Bam as a guard, where like he doesn't even like he could play the 1, he could play the 2, he could play the 3. He's super versatile. He could defend like 1 through 3. He could basically he's getting like 6 assists a game. He could play make. He could shoot. He could score. Like Shay. There's not really like anything he can't really do on a basketball court. So this is why I mean the fact that he's on OKC, I think he gets like just forgotten about. But I think Shay is definitely I got him pretty high just because of his two-way ability, the fact that he could play make. But yeah, I got him 5.
Yeah, I think we all love Shay. Like you said, two-way player, can get it done, and just sucks that he's so overlooked because OKC's essentially just looks like a horde of draft picks and SGA. That's literally what it comes down to.
And Lou Dort, dude.
Yeah, and Lou Dort.
Where do you got Lou Dort, bro? This is right next. He's 6 for me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's actually 4. But
yeah, dude.
He's honorable mention. I did not consider Lou Dort. Shout out my guy.
All right, but yeah, shout out Shay, man. He's not getting enough love, enough street cred.
Where do you guys got Shay?
I got him at 8.
I put him at 10, and I don't feel great about it. I think, like you said, Brandon, he's just so good at everything that he deserves to be here.
It's his third year in the league, dude. Like he's so young, and he could easily get better once you give him like. And he has like no teammates this year, and he's like kind of taking over. He's like single-handedly getting them like almost into the play-in tournament. Like they had to send Al Horford home because like this team is too good. Like I think Shay is like pretty underrated for how much he affects the team.
Yeah, I think it's more of just like the people ahead of him just being so talented for me, because like.
But I think so. My argument would be I think they're just on better teams. I think you put Shay, like we'll get into it, but I think you put Shay on any of these teams that you're talking about, and I think that like they'd probably be better with Shay than the players that you're about to name. But we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I got Donovan Mitchell. After
I
got
Mitchell at 6. I got Mitchell at 6.
Yeah, I got him at
right
6.
After Shay.
Yeah.
He's probably the weakest defender I have in my top 10.
I have Donovan Mitchell at 7. At 5, I have Ben Simmons, dude. I just think Ben Simmons does so much on the court. Continuing the beef, man. Continuing the beef. Basically, it's the same conversation for Bam Adebayo. Obviously, Ben Simmons doesn't have the jump shot. I just think what Ben Simmons does and how much he affects the game, it's like he has to be in consideration for the top.
Yeah, I got him at 9, but I think it's almost like the same, like the same thing you're saying about Bam. I kind of have him the same thing where it's like, I think he's almost in like that second, guy on the team type of thing. Like we thought he was gonna be that number 1, but it's looking like he's gonna be the number 2. I still would love him on my team.
He's like a 2-3 for me.
Yeah, he's like a 2-3. So that's why I have him at 9, right ahead of Bam. But they're both like he's weird because he is like a perimeter player, but he's kind of not at the same time. Like he kind of just a floater that he does whatever he needs to do. But I would obviously love him. But yeah, just slightly, it's hard to think about him being like the best player on a championship team. So, but I got him 9. Where do you have him, Abel?
I got him at 9. I mean,
9
he's
too.
essentially he's like the unicorn role player, where like.
He's not a role player, but that's like he's a role player.
He's not a role player, no. Like,
but he's so good that
he's so good at like defense.
Draymond Green
passing.
almost,
Yeah, he's exactly like Draymond Green.
A 6'10" Andre Iguodala or some shit.
Yeah.
Funny that he's out in Philly too, but like they just do everything.
Yeah.
But you like you said, like a Draymond Green, where he's so good at playing defense, so good at being able to switch onto whatever player he has to guard. so good at passing, so good at like controlling the tempo and getting guys just perfect shots. Like, so it's not really a role player, but it's like he's doing specific roles. Only.
Yeah.
He's
he plays like a role. Like he's like 5 role players into one player.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. So he's like the unicorn, like hyperbole, like everything you want in like a role player, all combined into one huge Australian dude. That's essentially what he is.
Yeah.
And I'm still holding out hope that if he ever goes to another team, he could get to another level. Like he could be more, like what Andre Iguodala tried to do with like Denver, and finally realizes with the Warriors that he didn't have to be the guy. But like, I don't know. I think Ben Simmons maybe could be the guy. So that's why I have him this high. I don't think that he's done enough to really prove it. I'm more betting on if he goes somewhere.
See, that's why I just think like I think I would rather have Shay than Ben Simmons just because of what Shay could do, the scoring. Like the same thing. Like Jalen Brown.
Fair, totally fair.
Like I think like it's just hard to like if Ben can't score and like shoot, it's hard to make him my number 1 guy. So like he would just have to be your number 2, and that's why it's hard. It's hard to value a guy like that, but he's still really good.
Got him back to back, and you never know, man. I mean, Ben Simmons, everyone's like he's never gonna get a jump shot. Sneaky 33% shooter from 3-point this year.
It's all happening.
But I mean, the form is there technically because I'm sure
once he switches hands,
he has to practice. Yeah, he shoots with the wrong hand. Yeah, KOC's like he shoots with the wrong hand.
Brandon Marshall meme.
or the Brandon Marshall meme.